Letitia James is just off her rocker. You have only to look at her outside the courthouse today. She's getting her day in court. And by the way, all the charges formally against her now. She was hit with all of them, right? Because, well, she apparently, according to some of the documentation I have seen, ABC News is reporting a little twist on this, but a lot of people are saying, oh, well, they're not actually looking at some of the fine print and comparing and contrasting the fact that she had plenty of documents saying these properties were income properties, okay? If you get an income property, you can't apply for a primary mortgage, and you certainly can't apply for a secondary mortgage, Letitia James. You should know that, right? You're a lawyer. But then again, when we look at your history and your family history, dare I say, maybe you just think the law doesn't apply to you. That's my bet. Anyway, here she is, the irony of it all, outside the courthouse today. Remember, this is the woman who campaigned on getting Trump, who promised voters in New York that she would devote every waking moment and minute to getting Donald Trump. She has the audacity to say that this is political against her. Watch.
But this is not about me. This is about all of us. And about a justice system which has been weaponized. A justice system which has been used as a tool of revenge. This justice system which has been used as a tool of revenge.
Well, apparently she was worried you didn't hear it the first time. She had to say it again. She does that a lot. It's almost like Letitia is like channeling Kamala and then trying to do some kind of like inverted version of that, because she says the same things over and over and over and over again, the same exact expression. Maybe that's her way of trying to avoid the Kamala word salad. Anyway, it's bad.
And a weapon against those individuals who simply did their job and who stood up for the rule of law.
Oh, she had a few fans out there. That's all you did, right, Letitia? You were just standing up for the rule of law, just doing your job. All while apparently getting like lower mortgage rates on things. I mean, the first one's quite obvious, like the primary residence. Now, she claims that's a clerical error made by her power of attorney. The second one, however, that's actually even more disturbing, because she calls it a secondary home, promises that she's actually not going to rent it out in the legal binding document. We've got the mortgage documents I've shown you right here on the show. And then proceeds to call it a financial investment in yet another documentation for her taxes. So, which is it, Tishy baby? I think we know. And this is what, is going to get you in trouble. And I'm sorry, but there's a certain irony, as you know here, given that she's out there outside the courthouse saying this is just political. It's political. It's political. What do you think we all went through? Oh, you know I'm going to play it, baby.
He's called me venomous.
We will fight back to your attempt to bring Trumpism to New York City.
He's called me disgraceful.
Of the fact that they stole the Supreme Court seat. An illegitimate president and an illegitimate member of the United States Supreme Court.
He's called me radical.
Listen, we know he's crazy. We know he doesn't have a sound mind. We know he's out of control. We know he's losing it. We know his days are numbered, and we will come together.
He's called me a racist.
We've got to stand up to an administration which is too male, too pale, and too stale. Too male, too pale, and too stale. Too male, too pale, and too stale.
Thank you.
Oh boy, Tishy, now what do we do about you? And I had to change the lower third because we said she faces up to 30 years in prison. Actually, she faces up to 60 years in federal prison for these charges. I mean, wow. And yes, you guys are pointing out, I'm looking at your notes here, that she also had a little incident back in 1983 with Daddy. Okay, so she suddenly became Daddy's wife on the mortgage application. I mean, is it me or are we seeing a pattern? We got House 1, just clerical oversight. It's the power of attorney's fault. I mean, she is an attorney. She ought to know better and be checking her power of attorney's work, right? And then the second one, oh, no. That's just some kind of messed up thing because she's applying for a secondary mortgage and yet, okay, so she has it also in her tax records as an income property. Well, if it's an income property, it's a whole different mortgage game, right? She got an 0.8% better a rate, which turned out to be like a $17,000 value over the life of the loan, including something like $3,000 up front when she first did the financing. Wow. Okay. And then there's Daddy's home with her where she became the wife. Okay. 1983. And we haven't even gotten into all the nieces living in the two homes in Norfolk, Virginia. And they're horrific past. Okay. We're the really, really, really bad criminal records here. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, but I'm seeing a pattern, not to mention she seemed to have been housing a fugitive, which actually doesn't come with as much time as what she was doing on the alleged mortgage fraud. You know, yesterday morning, some people caught up with her. This is like Letitia James incognito, and she seems really kind of angry. But let me say, that's a lot of red on screen.
Good morning, Miss James.
No, not talking. She seems angry.
Miss James, do you have any comments with the ICE raids happening downtown? Does the AG's office have any opportunity to do any?
We sent out information. We need video. Thank you.
Woo-hoo. So I wonder who pays for the car. In all seriousness, like who pays for the car? I've got to assume it's probably taxpayers because that's how this lady rolls, right? Oh, here's the thing. Look at that. Letitia James on Wednesday unveiling an online portal for residents to tattle on ICE agents. Newsmax had this story. And so that was what one of the reporters was asking about, but she was in too grumpy a mood to answer it. Why? Because she knew she had to be in Norfolk, Virginia with her folk, right? You know, all those nieces that, you know, just kind of had sticky fingers when it came to Dillard's, Macy's. Was Walmart in there too? You wonder why some of these companies are pulling out of some of these cities, right? Ooh, yeah. So she's trying to get people to tattle, and the whole time she's under a microscope herself, all right? So the ICE thing is bad. You've got Nancy Pelosi under fire for that from Pam Bondi. You've now got Letitia James under fire for that from Pam Bondi. You've also got Letitia James in court today facing the music, if you would, because Letitia James is going to have to effectively answer to all of these things. I mean, I don't know how she's going to explain, for example, this second home. I mean, we've talked about these bombshell records. I'm going to pull the computer a little bit closer to me so I can just walk you through this. This is the second home rider. And she dated this August 17th, 2020. And apparently it said that in addition to the covenants and agreements made in the security instrument, she basically is promising, in terms of occupancy, that she will occupy and use the property as her second home, that she will maintain exclusive control over the occupancy of the property, including short-term rentals. Short-term, not long-term, okay? Short-term. That's like Airbnb style, okay? So she signs up for the second mortgage as a secondary home. And then it turns out in the tax documents, it's something else entirely. So this is a problem. This is a problem. And listen, you know, she's like, oh, they're going after me. They're going after me because poor little me. I'm sorry, Tishy baby. I remember when you said this.
Donald Trump to pay $355 million for a decade of fraud. New York Attorney General Letitia James says she's prepared to do everything she can to make sure the former president pays his fine, including, she told us, seizing the buildings that bear his name.
If he does not have funds to pay off the judgment, then we will seek, judgment enforcement mechanisms in court, and we will ask the judge to seize his assets.
So what was that about? It was about trying to bankrupt someone. And gosh darn it, she nearly did it. I mean, you're talking $500 million. that she wanted. I mean, we do have this thing called the Eighth Amendment, where the crime and punishment kind of have to be somewhat in sync, and that's why the appellate court of the state of New York threw that one out like one hot puppy. Boom, done, over. And now she's going back and she's suing again. I mean, this woman is like a rabid individual, and she thinks that everything has been weaponized against her, as though she never weaponized anything against one Donald Trump.
I watch the fake news, and he's weaponized, and he wants to send them to prison. He wants all this. They indicted me like 5 times. I took a mugshot. Who would have thought it turned out to my favor? Because it was a good shot. But I had to take a mugshot. It's right out there on the door. New York Post, front page of every paper in the world. I had a mugshot. They wanted to send me. Nobody says that. They say, he's acting very, very tough. He's acting unfair. Let me tell you, if anything, I think this Justice Department has been so respectful of the law, because the other Justice Department, with Rita or Lisa and all of that scum, real scum, what they did to the political opponent of a guy that has a seriously low IQ. Now, in his case, it was low.
Talking about Biden.
Based on his career, but it got real low, okay?
Mental health decline.
It was descending rapidly.
Yep.
But what they did to go after his political opponent is legendary. Worse than any third world country, banana republic.
It actually is. He's right. It's like worse than any banana republic that we've seen. Of course, they didn't actually succeed in getting him in jail. I mean, that's like very, very banana republic stuff. But now you look around, like, I think that there are going to be some players that are going to be in trouble. And look, it happened before, right? Think what happened to Steve Bannon. Think about what happened to Peter Navarro. Think about what they put anybody who was associated with Donald Trump through. Think about the 30 million phone records that they were gathering on anybody that had interaction with anybody Trump. I'm sure I was in that, right? Think about the debanking that went on. I mean, there were like a ton of things. And think about how much they lied to us over and over and over again. And Letitia James, for you to sit there and cry victim as though you somehow are being unfairly targeted, when I don't know who the heck does that on mortgage documents. I'll tell you, Adam Schiff, I don't know who the heck says they have 2 primary homes. I once lived in California, had a home in New Hampshire. Guess what? It was my vacation home, even though I lived full-time in California. Because guess what? You know what? You can't have, I had a rental, by the way, even though I had a rental in California, you can't have 2 primary homes. I mean, why weren't the banks getting freaked out? You got to ask yourself that question too. Anyway, Letitia promised to go after Trump on the campaign trail. You saw the montage. Here's another one. I love what Byron Donalds has to say about her. By the way, Byron's got a big political future. Don't doubt me on that one. He's fantastic, former financial advisor. He actually understands markets and the economy. I love him. Here he is talking about Tishy.
I look forward to going into the office of Attorney General every day, suing him, defending your rights, and then going home.
Boom.
Congressman Donald, she said this is nothing to see here, it's just retribution, but that sounds like retribution.
Oh, yeah.
100%. Her entire campaign for Attorney General of New York was to go after one man, and that one man was Donald Trump. She was letting real criminals go. She was letting them go scot-free in New York, but she ran just to go after President Trump, and it's wrong. It's a misuse of power, abuse of power. And now we find out that she was not on the up and up with her personal documents, and now she wants to feign outrage. Well, look, this is very simple. If you live in a glass house, don't throw stones. It's real simple. But unfortunately, Letitia James, she's indicted because it appears that, yes, she was defrauding mortgage companies to get a favorable down payment and a favorable interest rate. And she thought nobody was going to check.
Yeah. Well, you know, she weaponized the whole thing. She's actually, there are some within the Democrat circle. This is why she's like so into Mamdani right now. Comrade Mamdani is like the only one who's going to support her, along with Kathy Hochul, who's a political animal herself. But in the state of New York, you have a lot of people that are saying, hey, Tishy, baby, you got to resign because this is really, really bad. I mean, think about the Wisconsin judge who was forced to resign because, hey, when you're the judge and you're saying, oh, just slip out my back door because I don't care what you may or may not have done to your wife. I don't care about the domestic abuse allegations going on We just care that, oh, it's going to be bad because you got ICE waiting outside. So let me give you a pass. Well, that is direct violation of federal law, and you're a judge. You can't really be doing that, right? So the Supreme Court there in Wisconsin said, bye-bye, see you later. Well, how can you have an attorney general that is allegedly guilty of some pretty serious stuff, on top of which she's now trying to arrest ICE agents? I mean, this is going to get messy really, really fast. And so most of New York is not like New York City. Most of New York has no use for this woman. Most of New York is like, bye. I mean, they hate her more than they hate Schumer, which is saying a lot. And so she's trying to glom onto New York City and Mamdani and hopefully Kathy Hochul, who, by the way, is also underwater on her polls. So a lot of folks like deep down in the party are saying, maybe we need to back away from this. Maybe it'd be better if she just resigned, because again, all this stuff is going to come back to haunt her. Like, the 1983 mortgage document. Are you looking at it? I'm not looking at it. If you are listening to the show on Spotify, thank you. We are also on video on Spotify. Actually, incidentally, guys, I put that link at the very tippy top. That's like the West Coast repeat. We always go there after. So please make sure that you subscribe to my Spotify channel. It's important, even just from an ego standpoint, because I'm at like 14,000 subs there. We're at 1.1 million here. So help me out. Show me some love. I am looking at the mortgage document between Robert James and Letitia James, comma, his wife. Well, that's a little strange. I mean, she was his daughter, not his wife, okay? His daughter. So I'm a little bit troubled. Are you a little bit troubled? I think we're all just sort of thinking, Letitia, you just kind of, you've worn out your welcome, so to speak here. We're getting a little bit tired of this. Letitia James back in 1983 making the choice, the really bad choice, to sign onto a mortgage document with her father as though she were his wife. Because why? Maybe he needed to show that he had some kind of steady income and she was by then out working. And so that may have been the thinking. It's kind of like, I hate to say this, but when you look at the nieces, right? And you see that the nieces have all of their problems, and you see that there's this kind of mentality, especially within some of this DEI nonsense mindset, that you're kind of owed something, right? That it's yours to take. That, when these protests were going on during the summer of 2020, that it was the, duty of the insurance companies to pay for all the damage done, that somehow people were entitled to take things because they deserved it, right? Because, I'm sorry, they would say the color of their skin and therefore they're owed reparations, etc. I'm not buying that. You know what? You stand on your own 2 damn feet every single day in this world. I never bought for 2 seconds that I couldn't have as successful a show because I'm a woman. Hey, if anything, I think I'm in better shape because women like women and men like women. So, hey, I got a bigger pool to choose from. Thank you very much. I've never bought any of this, not for 2 seconds. I mean, hey, you want to put me in a race against a naturally born man? Yeah, I'm going to lose that all day long. But when it comes to intellectual power, etc., no. The fact that I'm a woman, the fact that I grew up on a dirt road in a little town in New Hampshire, none of that matters. Because what matters in this country, in our economy, is our wonderful and great meritocracy. But I look at somebody like Letitia James and I think, you're a lawyer. Like, what was going through your head that you thought it was okay in 1983 to sign up with daddy as his wife? Because somehow you think you're entitled? Isn't she the one that told us over and over again how there can't be a different set of rules for people? Yeah, I do believe that I heard that quite a few times from one Letitia James when she was asked about this case that she now is trying to file. I'm not guilty, I'm just the victim. She was asked about this by an MSNBC host, one that looks just like Rachel Maddow. I mean, it's unbelievable. It is uncanny how they pick their hosts over there at MSNBC. At Fox, they say you got to be blonde. At MSNBC, you got to look like Rachel Maddow. Here's Chris Hayes asking Tishy about just exactly what went down. She doesn't want to answer anything.
I will respond to these baseless allegations at the appropriate time and in the appropriate way, but I am 100% confident that it will not result in any criminal indictment or action against me, and that it is nothing more than a revenge tour, and that Donald Trump just ultimately got to the J's, and I was next.
The key allegation, again, it sounds like you don't want to address them here, but I'm just going to put it out so people understand that a property that was owned in Virginia, and a mortgage that you signed, if I'm not mistaken, for that property, that they say you falsely represented yourself as a resident of Virginia, and that was essentially amounts to mortgage fraud since you're a resident of New York. What is your response to that?
It's baseless. Everybody knows I'm a resident of New York, specifically Brooklyn. And again, we will respond at the appropriate time in the appropriate way to these baseless allegations. And some media outlets like the Daily News over the weekend has indicated as much.
That's all you want to say?
That's all that I'm going to say.
He's like, well, I don't know where to go from here. That's all she's going to give me. That's all she's going to say, because you see, she was saving it up. She was saving it up for her big day outside the courthouse where she told us nothing, right? She just went on and on about, I'm the victim now. I'm the victim. No one is buying it, Tish.
But this is not about me. This is about all of us.
No,
and about
it's about you.
Justice system which has been weaponized. A justice system which has been used as a tool of revenge. This justice system which has been used as a tool of revenge.
Again, repeating herself.
And a weapon against those individuals who simply did their job and who stood up for the rule of law.
Save it for the judge, honey. Okay, you're gonna need that defense. You're gonna need some money too. Abby Lowell costs a pretty penny, I hear. That's why she's hitting up the legal defense fund. You see, she could only get $1 million, it seems, out of New York taxpayers, even though Kathy Hochul had set aside $10 million for her. The thing is, it didn't look that good, right? It just didn't look good because it's a personal matter. And so she was going to be taking New York taxpayer money for a personal matter. So now she has to go and hit up all these big, donor types, and she'll probably get the money. Hey, I mean, there's more George Soroses out there than you'd think. Plus the Reid Hoffmans, et cetera. There are a lot of people that are willing to help bankroll her, and it's kind of gross, but it is where we are, and it is just, part of what's happening.